Good morning, Year 4. Happy Monday. Today is the 1st of February and we will be looking at page 16, which is the last of the division worksheets in your book. Before I start, I just want to give a shout out to Olivia Kay for her effort in her home learning last week. Well done, good girl, you did an excellent job. Keep it up. Okay, so very quickly, we're just going to have a think back to what we did last week. What different things did you look at? So we looked at column method, but we looked at it in relation to multiplication. We've started to look at division and we're going to finish that off today. And we finished off our multiplication at the start of the week. So they're the three things that we've looked at this last week, and then we're going to be moving on to some new topics this week. Okay, so before we start, I just want to warm our brains up, get the cogs turning. I want you to have a go at matching each statement to the correct bar model. So I have 3 statements on the left-hand side of my page, and I have 3 bar model representations. And my sentences for on the left-hand side need to match the bar models, so they need to match the different representations. So 8 pots have 10 pencils each, 10 chickens lay 5 eggs each, 5 buses have 10 passengers. So I want you to match them up to the correct representation. So pause the video, have a go, and then press play when you are ready and you will see your answers. So what is it that you need to do with those statements to figure out which representation goes with which one? Okay, so if you put 8 pots have 10 pencils each with the bottom bar model, then you will be correct. If you matched your 10 chickens lay 5 eggs to the bar model that goes up in 5s, then you were correct. And if you did 5 buses have 10 passengers to the bar model on the top, then you were also correct. So well done if you got those 3 right. If you didn't, have another go, make your corrections. The method that I would have used is, I know that 8 times 10 is 80, so I would have had a look on the bar model where there are 8 blocks of 10. The same with 10 chickens lay 5 eggs. I know that 10 times 5 is 50, so I would have had a look and counted up using my 5s to when I got the answer 50. And 5 buses had 10 passengers. Again, I know that there are 5 buses, so there are going to be 5 boxes, each with the number 10 in them. Okay, our learning question for today is, can I use my multiplication knowledge to continue to answer division questions? So we've been focusing the past few days on division in relation to multiplication. And we've had to apply our times tables knowledge to support us. So the first question is asking us to circle the calculation shown. So my answer is 5. And then I have been given 2 separate division sums. But what I'm going to do is use my 5 times table knowledge to identify which answer is correct, because I know that 9 times 5 is going to give me a certain answer. That answer, when divided by 9, will give me the answer of 5. So I need to look through for 9 times 5. So I can see 9 times 5 here, and it says that it's 45. So the inverse of 9 times 5 must therefore be 45 divided by 9. So I would draw my circle around 45 divided by 9. So your task for this question is to use your times tables knowledge to figure out which division statement is correct. So your answer is in this big box here on your worksheet. So this box here is where your answer is going to be. So that's your answer of each statement. You then have to look at each statement and look at the number at the end of the statement, okay? Oh, let's rub it out and draw that circle around it again, Miss Prince. That was absolutely shocking. So you have a look at the number at the end of your statement, and the number for this question is 9. Now I know that the inverse to divide is times. Okay, now I'm doing this on my computer. I'm finding it very hard to draw these symbols, so hopefully you can do better symbols than this. So I know that the inverse to divide is times, so therefore I would have to times 9 by 5 to get my answer. Now I've gone down on my 5 times tables list and I can see that 9 times 5 equals 45, so therefore it must be the top choice. Okay, so you're simply going to go through the rest of the questions and use the same method, the same technique that I've just shown you to have a go at figuring out the correct calculation. Okay, question 2. You've got 2 different division charts and you need to complete them. So they're just the opposite of the multiplication charts that you were doing at the start of last week. As you can see, I have used the example of the 5 times table. Now, the division charts that you've got I don't think use the 5 times table, so that's why I've done it, because I don't want to give you the answers to all of your questions, because it's going to be a challenge for you to have a go on your own. So I've got my division sum, and underneath I've got the number 5, so I know that I'm going to be looking at my 5 times table, and then I've got all my answers, all my multiples of 5. So then I've had to go through, and I use my fingers for this one, but if you want to use your chart you can. There's lots of different ways that you can work this out. You could use grouping, where you draw 5 circles and add in 1 dot each until you get the answer 20. So there's lots of different methods that you can use to help you tackle this question. Choose the one that's right for you. Now, because a lot of you are in my maths set and you are sound with your times table knowledge, I feel like you could do this mentally. But just remember that there are lots of different techniques that are out there to help you. If you do want some support on the different techniques, please get in touch and I will support you through this as to which one might be easier for you. So 5 divided by 20. 5, 10, 15, 20, 4. Okay, same again. 5 divided by 15. 5, 10, 15, 3. So how I did it is I counted up until I got to my multiple of 5. And then however many fingers I had up or I had counted on would be my answer. Now I use the inverse to help me answer these questions. So I counted up using multiples of 5 until I got to my answer. If that's something that's easier for you, then you do it that way. But like I say, you could always do it like this, where you have your circles. So you have your 5 circles, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So you could use grouping to help you, so that the drawing of the circles and putting your dots in is called grouping. You can use grouping, so I did 5 circles because I know it's the 5 times table, and then I counted until I got to 20, and I can see in each circle I've got 4, so therefore 5 goes into 24 times. So you could use grouping to help you. If that's easier, do it that way, please. There's no right or wrong way of getting to your answer as long as you get the answer right. And question 3, solve these problems. So I'm going to have a go of the first one with you. And I'll explain the introduction of something called remainders. Okay, so Julia has 72 stamps. She puts 9 on each page of her stamp album. How many pages will she fill? So 72 needs to be divided by 9, and that'll give me the answer of the number of pages that Julia fills. So I will need to do my 9 different circles. 3. Oh, let's rub that one out. That's not a very good one. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'd go through until I get to 72. And then whatever would be left over, I would write as a remainder. So 72 divided by 9 is, let me have a look on my calculator because I think doing the dots would take a lot. So 72 divided by 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you would do this up until you get to your answer. Now a lot of you will already know this, it would be 8. So when you do your grouping, you need to make sure that you've got 8 dots in each of the 9 circles, because that'll make up 72. Now, if you have a number where, say for example, it was 73 divided by 9, and you had 1 remaining, you would have to write 8 remainder 1, because that one has got nowhere to go. Okay, now that's something that you learn when you get into year 5 and towards the end of year 4. But we can have a look at it in closer depth when we get back into school. So I've started there to group mine. I've got 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I just need to do this a few more times until I get to 8, and then I know that I've got 72 dots all together. So this can take quite a while, which is why I recommend you make sure that you have your times table sheet up when you do these questions, just because then you can see straight away what the inverse is. So you could look down on your times tables grid on your 9 times table and see that 9 times 8 is 72. Okay, so you could do it like that. That would be a quicker method, but if you aren't confident doing it that way, you can use grouping, or you could just use your mental knowledge, because I know quite a few of you are pretty confident using mental arithmetic. Okay, so you could do grouping, you can look at your grid. So straight away I know that therefore there will be 8, and make sure you write your measurements pages. Now this isn't the neatest handwriting I have, you all know this, but I'm having to do it on my mouse mat, so I'm finding it a little bit tricky. Okay, so 8 pages. Your challenge for today then, when you've had to go through doing all of those questions, is to make your way through the maze by following the factor pairs of 36. Now, looking at a lot of the work that you did last week, quite a few of you struggled with the factor pairs question on Thursday. So I think that we need to do a challenge to address this. So if you know that you're one of the children that I said, just check your question on factor pairs, please can you have a go at this challenge, because I want to see that you can recognise what factor pairs are. Okay, so my example was of 36 last week, so I've used 36 again because we can be familiar, we are familiar with the number 36 and factor pairs. Now you can only move vertically or horizontally to get to the finish line. So I'm going to show you and explain very quickly why I've circled the ones in red. So I know that 1 times 36 is 36, so therefore 1 and 36 are factor pairs of 36, because a pair is 2 and they're both factors of 36. They can both be divided by 36. Okay, and the same with 9 and 4. 9 times 4 is 36. Therefore 9 and 4 are a factor pair of 36 because they can be divisible into 36. Okay, so it's your task to identify all the factor pairs and get yourself out onto the finish line on this maze. Okay, now if it's easier for you to take a screenshot, if you've got a phone or an iPad or a tablet, you can draw the circles on yourself and then you can just send it through on the email address instead of having to draw it out. Okay, so it'd be great to see what children decide to have a go of this, but if you have struggled, I recommend you have a go, because we need to practice our factor pairs. Tomorrow's starter, or I think the next few starters, will have a different selection of different activities that we struggled with during the learning that we had last week. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know. You've got your year 4 email address down below. Please send your work in, it'd be great to see. Lots of you have been having to go for challenges and starters, which is fantastic. Please keep it up, because it's just a little bit of extra work that keeps your brain working and gets you practicing times tables and different things like that. Okay, so we need to be developing those skills on top of the things that we're doing in our workbook. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll see you all on Tuesday. Bye.